Hey guys, welcome to lesson number 2 for this first week of our digital learning. I decided every time I film one of these lessons, I'm going to do it in a different location in my house, just to kind of keep things interesting and mix it up. So this time I'm in my youngest daughter, Charlotte's room. She is the pink and all the flowers and all of that. So if you hear my dog Boomer barking in the background, just forgive him. We're all rolling with it. These are crazy times for all of us. But so today we are going to talk about a little bit about chapter 7 and what we read in chapter 7, and then I'm going to give you a preview of your assignment for chapter 8. Okay, so a couple things that we need to talk about from chapter 7. We need to talk about the whole TJ coat thing. So Stacy gives TJ his coat because TJ's kind of a jerk and manipulative and whiny, and so he convinces Stacy that the coat's too big for him. He looks like a preacher, so he should just give it to him until Stacy grows into it. Stacy caves and gives the coat to TJ. I think that his little chat from Uncle Hammer taught him a lesson, not to be used and manipulated by people, and to be beyond grateful and proud of what he has. So that will be interesting. That whole Stacy TJ dynamic and relationship will continue to develop and be interesting as we go forward in the next few chapters. Okay, that's going to become kind of a big deal. Then we had Christmas morning with the family. How many of you were maybe struck by the difference between their Christmas morning and your Christmas mornings? The joy of books. Nothing could compare to the books, okay? So, I mean, they sat there and they turned the pages for hours, and it was books, right? How can we just be grateful for the books? And maybe we're finding ourselves these days of quarantine grateful for some different things than we are used to. But when your life is like Cassie's life, having a new book was everything. And fresh fruit. Oh my goodness, the one time of the year, she said, where they got like an orange and a banana. Let's take that perspective. One of the things that we love so much about reading is that it opens our world up a little bit to the lives that are different than ours and gives us maybe a little bit of gratitude. The gift from Jeremy. Jeremy shows up Christmas Day, right? And he has a gift for Stacy and for the family. And what a gesture, okay? And clearly nobody really knew what to do with that right away. And again, this is another relationship. We have the Stacy TJ dynamic that will develop, and we have the Stacy Jeremy, Cassie Jeremy dynamic that will develop in the race relations and what that teaches us. But for Jeremy to, number one, risk a lot for this friendship with them. He said his dad didn't know where he was going. This is kind of a big deal that he would take this risk and that he would come visit them, and that he valued them as humans and as friends enough that he would take his time and make something handmade for them as a gesture of friendship is pretty huge. Okay, and we know that this theme of the race relations and dynamics and stuff is one of our prominent themes of this book. And so that was a huge example of him kind of breaking the norms and what it takes to risk something and to do what's right, even when it's different from what society tells you. Okay, and then we need to talk about the whole Wallace store shopping in Vicksburg, all of that with Mr. Jameson. Okay, so on page 161, okay, if you have your book in front of you, I'm just going to have you look at this with me. Page 161, I'm turning the page myself, okay? page 161. It's on the right-hand side, kind of about halfway down. I'm going to start reading, and I'm just going to read you this little section. We're going to talk about it. Okay? So Mr. Jameson's like, I know you're talking about trying to shop in Vicksburg and people not shopping at the Wallace store. And he says, Mr. Jameson glanced at Uncle Hammer and nodded. I reckoned you did. But as far as I can see, the only thing any of you got to back that credit with is this land. And I'd hate to see you put it up. Why's that? Said Uncle Hammer, wary of his interest. Because you'd lose it. The fire popped and the room grew silent. Then Papa said, what are you getting at? I'll back the credit. Again, silence. Mr. Jameson allowed Papa and Uncle Hammer several minutes to search for a motive behind his mask-like face. I'm a Southerner born and bred, but that doesn't mean I approve of all that goes on here. And there are a lot of other white people who feel the same. Okay, so we talked about Jeremy taking a risk, right? And going against the societal norms with race relations. And then we have Mr. Jameson, taking a huge risk. So let's talk about what this means, okay? So he says, I'll back the credit. And we've talked about the whole like Wallace store and how the sharecroppers, they're basically the landowners would pay the store for the food and the groceries and the seeds and the supplies and all of that stuff that their sharecroppers needed. So then the landowners would charge them extra interest to pay them back, right? Which is why so many of them are stuck having to shop at the Wallace store because it's their only option. So to go shop in Vicksburg, a lot of these sharecroppers are saying, we don't have the cash to do that. We don't have the money to do that. We can't just pay some other store. We need our landowners covering it for us, whether or not we have to pay them back more interest. Well, here's Mr. Jameson saying, do not put your land up as collateral. Basically, that means like if someone couldn't pay what they owed the store in Vicksburg, they could take the Granger, not the Granger, they could take their land, the Logan land, as payment. And so they'd end up losing their land because someone else couldn't pay their bill. And Mr. Jameson is like, nope, I won't let you do that. This is too valuable. It means too much to you. Do not put up your land to cover somebody else's butt, basically. Okay? And so he says, I will back the credit. And what that means is Mr. Jameson, a white man, their lawyer, is saying, I will put my name on this and back you. So if any of these people cannot pay their bill, I'm liable. I will have to pay it for them. This is huge. Okay, this is huge for not only anyone to do, but especially for a successful white man to say, like, I get what's going on. I get why you don't want to shop at the Wallace store. I'm going to back you so that you can go shop somewhere else and make a statement. And I'm going to be the one paying the bill when I know that there will be people who can't make the payments. Okay, so this is a huge step. We don't know yet if this is going to happen. We don't know yet if they're going to take him up on this. We don't know if Mr. Jameson's going to end up paying anything or if he's going to get run-ins from some others who don't like what he's deciding to do. We don't know any of that yet. But what we know right now is that this is a gigantic race relations step that has happened here. And there's a lot of skepticism. The Logans aren't quite sure what to do with it, but we will figure out what's going to happen with this. But so a lot of big thematic stuff went on in chapter 7. Okay, so your next assignment, that was me almost 10 minutes rattling on about the book, but I know that you miss me. I know that you miss talking about the books and hearing from me, so this is my gift to you. I miss your faces so much. I'm like pretending to talk to my daughter's stuffed animals here so that it feels like I'm actually talking to people, because my actual people, you are not here with me. So your second assignment for the week is to read chapter 8. Okay, and so in the next video, I will do a little rundown breakdown of the most important things from chapter 8. But then your literary analysis assignment from chapter 8 is a little more fun. Not maybe as challenging or deep thinking as the character analysis wheel. But you're gonna do a character trait crossword. Okay, so this is your literary analysis from chapter 8. You have to basically pair the character traits, the descriptions with the characters, and then fill in the crossword, and then send that to me when you're done. Because having this better, deeper understanding of these characters is going to lay the foundation for some of this analysis that we're going to keep doing in some of these later chapters where stuff gets heavy in the book. We're going to talk about conflict. We're going to talk about theme. We're going to talk about some big stuff in these next few chapters. So read chapter 8. Email me if you have more questions about chapter 7, things that you want me to respond to or help explain. Read chapter 8, character trait crossword, and I will see you on the next video with highlights and key details from chapter 8, and we'll talk about the assignment for chapter 9. Okay, bye.